Hey everyone, Meltingman234 here with another Archie Sonic review. Today we'll be looking at Issue 1, the very first issue in the main series that was released in May of 1993. The co-design is pretty good, showing Sonic and the Freedom Fighters against Robotnik and his Badniks. In the first story, Meet Me at the Corner of Hedgehog and Vine, it looks like Robotnik has captured Sonic and delivers the final blow, destroying him. But it turns out he was beating up a piñata of him to express his hatred to him. A SWAT bot comes in delivering a plan to Robotnik, which ticks him off because when it comes to Robotnik, the rules in his lands are no laughing, no singing, no plants, no music, no books, no exercise, no friends, no pets, no fun, no healthy food, and no complaining about the rules. But then it turns out that it's actually a machine disguised as a plant called Krudzu. And so he summons a burrow bot to plant the seeds, spreading them everywhere, and eventually destroy Knothole in the process. Meanwhile, in Knothole, Antoine is bummed out that Sally doesn't notice him and decides to head out and find a unique bouquet of flowers for Sally. But then Sonic and Sally hear that Antoine is in trouble and rush in to find that the Krudzu plan has got him. Sonic jumps into action and uses his Sonic Spin to cut him loose as they head back to Knothole before the plants crawl inside. They take him to Boomer to see if they can untangle Antoine with all these branches around him. So there's only one solution to get him untangled the easy way. Use a chainsaw! Actually, Boomer pulled the chainsaw out to cut the table and make it more shorter. And the team decide to start removing all the branches and toss them into a bucket. As they free Antoine, Tails mistakes the Krudzu plan as cuttings and waters them. Sonic and the others try to stop him, but it's too late. Tails has watered them and they believe it'll grow like mad. But then it explodes into pieces, leaving the Freedom Fighters puzzled. Boomer examines one of the damaged branches and finds out that it's a machine disguised as a plan created by Robotnik. Sonic plans to go after it, but Sally assures him that Mother Nature will defeat them, as it turns out today was a day with thunder, lightning, and a whole lot of rain. Well, that's what happens when Robotnik doesn't check the Weather Channel. In the next story called You Bet My Life, Sonic gets called in for an emergency. Doesn't involve Robotnik? Is Knothole in danger? Something unexplainable happened? No, they just need him to fold up the map of Mobius, as they were using it to see where Robotnik's big speech is about to happen, where he unveils a new Badnik. So Sonic tells the readers to go get out Sonic 2 and get him to Casino Night Zone, or turn the page. Of course, turning the page makes more sense because it'll take a while to get Sonic to Casino Night Zone in Sonic 2, with all the other two zones in the way. As Sonic finds the room where Robotnik makes his announcement, Robotnik notices that Sonic has gotten into the Casino Night Zone, which gives him the perfect opportunity. So the speech begins as Robotnik shows his Badniks his newest creation, Orbinaut, as it fires one of its mace balls at Sonic, knocking him out. Robotnik traps Sonic in a tight, thick glass ball and plans on torturing him by putting him in his giant pinball machine a dozen times. But then one of the SWAT bots informs Robotnik that someone won some money in the casino, and when it comes to Robotnik's casino, if you try to beat the house beats you, with a hammer. So while Robotnik goes off to hammer the bum, Sonic tries to use his quills to cut the glass and get out. So as Robotnik returns to send Sonic into the pinball machine, he sends him off but breaks the glass, frees Sonic, and starts destroying the pinball machine. And so Sonic rushes out of the casino as he manages to blow it up with a strange coincidence in finding a bomb, and foils Robotnik's plans again. So Sonic can go home and rest. But first he has to get a child-proof cap off. Man, I knew Antoine was a wimp back then, but this is ridiculous. The comic also contains some bonus stuff like pin-ups and skits and other extras, but I'll only mention a few of them as I go along with the series. So anyway, the comic is pretty good for its first issue. There were some scenes that threw me off the first time by surprise when I first read it, like when Robotnik looks like he caught Sonic, and when Boomer was about ready to kill Antoine. Although I wish the Krudzu story could have lasted longer. There could have been so many ideas that what would happen with this machine. In 2008, this issue would be reprinted years later for the Sonic Free Comic Book Day of 2008, where the front cover is given an upgrade with the character designs as we see them nowadays. So now let's move on to issue 2, as the cover on this one shows Robotnik's hatred to Sonic with a wanted poster, and advertising some kind of weird club. So now let's start off with the first story, known as Triple Trouble, which is not a video game adaptation to Sonic Triple Trouble. That'll happen later on. In this story, Robotnik sends his newest creation, Coconuts, to go and destroy Sonic, as we see Sonic and Tails having some fun until Coconut shows up and almost blows them up. Tails is about ready to clobber the guy, but Sonic stops him, saying that he has a better idea to stop Coconuts. So the two surround him and literally start playing monkey in the middle, tossing the bombed coconut around and throw it back to Coconuts, exploding it right in front of his face, leaving him in pieces. So after Coconuts has failed to do the job, Robotnik sends out Scratch and Grounder, members of the super special Sonic Search and Smash Squad, to destroy Sonic, as they follow a trench that they think it was left behind by Sonic because of his speed. Meanwhile, Sonic notices this and tells Tails to head back to Knothole because A. Let Princess Sally know about them, B. Because he said so, or C. To allow the artist more room to draw. I have to say I'll go with either B or C, because Sally's not in this issue. Well, not in the main stories anyway. So the two robots are at a dead end, as Sonic comes in and slices the cliff off with his sonic speed, sending the two robots falling to the ground. But the fight isn't over yet, as Grounder launches a coil of rope to drag Sonic down to them. Even though they caught Sonic, Scratch and Grounder start fighting over each other and who gets to turn them in and how they'll do it, which leads them to bashing each other with any weapon they can pull out of their sockets. While this is going on, Sonic unties himself from the rope and uses his speed to create a deep trench, which sends the two robots falling into the trench and buried under rubble, and Sonic foils another one of Robotnik's schemes once again. In the next story, Vertigo A Go-Go, we see Sonic collecting some magic rings that will help him and the Freedom Fighters to defeat Robotnik, as Sonic accidentally lands on a spring which sends him into a strange universe, where nothing makes sense, and gravity has no law, and the residents of this place are two people known as Vertical and Horizontal, or Cal and Al for short. So Sonic mostly thinks they're goons of Robotnik and tries to stop him, but is unable to perform a sonic spin in this nonsensical dimension. But he finds out that Cal and Al don't know anything about Mobius and Robotnik, and finds out that tampering with all those power rings sent him into this unknown universe. So Sonic tries to ask them to help the Freedom Fighters with their fight against Robotnik, but is sent back to his dimension, losing all the power rings and not getting an answer. And just for a bonus, here's a quick summary of a short story in this issue called All the Mails About Tails. In this story, Sonic and Tails read some letters from the fans who stated their opinions on how Tails got two tails. Some say he has two tails because he's a superhero, some say he was a circus attraction, some say he was a failed experiment from Dr. Frankenstein. But either way, Tails hopes to get his own miniseries, which is foreshadowing of what's to come in the future. I like the ending when Sonic gets a letter from a fan and it says, "Dear Sonic, why are you always naked?" And that's issue 2 of the Archie Sonic series. You can obviously tell in the first story they incorporated elements from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog because of Scratch, Grounder, and Coconuts. The second story is a bit strange, but it's a nice start of the whole alternate universe idea that would be used several times in the series later on. The last one I mentioned was just for laughs, but anyway, both the issues are nice. Sure, they can be cheesy, but they are made for a good laugh and have some fun. Well, that wraps up this Archie Sonic review, so this is Melting Man 234 signing out.